So after seeing base API calls, we see that we have like a couple of um, util types, and those are defining the different fields that the resulting object from the API. So for this, we definitely need to infer the types by checking the whether the entity is never or not. That would be like the first step. So that's what we're going to do first. Um, so by doing this, we're gonna rule out whether the entity which is being inferred in that um, first statement, if that's never, then we don't need to include the create API field. So what do we got? So if the entity is never, then we need to return unknown at some point. Let's see. Let's see what it looks like right now. Okay, create still there. Um, that's fine. It doesn't have any entity, so right, right. If the entity is never, then it should return unknown, so we don't include the create key. So that should probably do it now. Yeah, create is no longer in our list, so that's great. We there's another like thing that we have to take into account is that if the entity inferred is not never, but we do have a we don't have a create model, that means that we have to do something different. So that's kind of what the two lines at the end do, like the create call object te, tc, and te. So we have to adapt this to our way of doing things, which was checking for never on the tc. So yeah, let's check for never for the create shape. That would allow us to bifurcate this type resolution to the create object with entity and create shape and with just entity. So that should work for our case. I think we're missing probably one branch of all these conditions. So there it goes. Let's give it a shot in the tests, and that looks pretty good, I guess. So next in line would be the retrieve call. We'll, we're gonna do the same if there's no entity or the entity is never. Uh, we'll do unknown so that we remove the key from the resulting object. And we should, yeah, well, I just copy this. And we'll do the same as well with the filters. It's kind of all the same process here. So after repeating this a couple of times, this got me wondering, why don't we do this within the type util rather than in the upper type util? We're repeating this constantly, and we're already defaulting to never the extra shape, in this case the extra filters, but in create would be create. Um, so we could give it a shot and see what happens if we, instead of checking never here, I think the entity still needs to be checked for never, but in the case of, for example, let's call object, which takes t entity and t extra filters, we might we might be able to do the never check here and resolve either this list object or the or unknown. I'm gonna try first with a create and see how that goes. Um, we'll have to change for sure the where the create call object usage is, so that we make sure that we stop checking for never there as well. Um, so just doing like this, it should work, I believe, because now the never check is within create call object. Um, so we'll resolve to unknown if that fails to infer entity or to create. Okay, so with the uh, create model object call, we could do the same for the retrieve, but I'd rather first go take a look to the tests and see what's going on. Um, that doesn't seem to work. This doesn't either. So if I recall correctly, I think I've had this issue before. So I'll just undo everything, and I think we're fine, just how we were before. So this might be just what I'm gonna do. Mm. But that fixed it, and we have like the errors that we had before. We'll address them at some point. So we'll continue with the remove call. We're gonna do the same. Check is never. If it's never, just return unknown. Otherwise, we'll return the object with the remove field so that it merges into the create API resulting object. Do the same with the update. It's not gonna be much of a difference. It's just the same. In the update, we only have the entity, so we don't need like as much branching as we had with the list and the create. Whereas with the upsert we do, because the upsert also takes into account the create model. So we're just gonna follow a similar procedure. All right, I think that should cover all the. Okay, we have an error with lists. Maybe we messed up on that type of. This doesn't exist. Hmm. I fixed this before, so now it's not working. Maybe we messed up something in the util. Let's see that. Uh, create model. No, just need the list with extra filters. All right, yeah, yeah. No, that's wrong. If we don't have like an extra filters model, we should return the tab util with just the entity model. So that fixed it. Um, and we only have, yeah, we have this feature of the ID that was not implemented yet in this new signature, and we have the disabled trailing slash as well, which is something that we added, and we will need to rework in this new version. So we have this disabled trailing slash. We were intending to have a couple of options for the create API creation. So this would be a good chance for us to add that in a separate field. Since we're reworking the signature, it just makes sense. Um, we may, we we may actually want to infer this boolean value, whether it's true or false, so that we can do some stuff, at least with the validation of the URL um, in the different methods, especially in the custom service calls, so that we don't error on that. So with this in place, I wouldn't hesitate on moving all this implementation into the new create API. We're missing the custom service calls, but I think we should be good as we are. Then we can take care of those types. Um, so let's do the copying and add the implementation in the new version. So now we'll have to go through all the errors and fix them. These are mainly related with the new arcs that we have, the new arcs type. So I guess we can do this. Go on every one and just look at replace with the args access. So I'm trying to see if I can like select all the disable trainer slash at the same time, but thing is that there are the other disable trainer slash from the previous implementation, so might have to do that manually, or at least select them manually. There are only two, right? That looks like it. Yeah, this takes me to the type. I guess just with these two should be good. Oh, my Vim just messed up. Okay, args options and then disable trainer slash. That should do it. Could do the same for base URI, but since that's always gonna be there, I may actually be able to just deconstruct the args. That'll fix some. Yeah, it makes sense as well to destructure everything, since everything is gonna be the args. It's not that um, we have optionals, but optionals mean these are gonna be undefined. So we are doing like runtime checks, so we should be fine. Just changed custom service calls to custom calls, just fine. So the return types are gonna be a bit tricky. I'll do any here now. That's terrible, but we'll mark it as a to-do. I don't want to deal with these right now. Um, we already have the return type defined, so it's actually up to us to comply with it in every single return. If we were to actually let the method define the return type, it would be a bit of a complication because I don't know how that would work exactly. So in this case, we are not having like any models in these return types. So I'm trying to use a bare API service um, type util so that I could just send that. I think I lost the bare API service. There it is. So if we do unknown, that means that we haven't passed any of the models. So uh, what is up with this? All right, we can just call it this way. Since T entity, T create, and T extra filters are go into whenever, I think that's just fine to define. And these internal types, I don't think they make much sense to declare as much. It's, I mean, it's good practice because if we were returning, I don't know, like a number or something that doesn't match Bear API service, or Bear API service cannot be of a shape of that it's returning, we would get an error. So that's, it's like give us a little bit of coverage. Still, we can mess things up, but it's just like the bare minimum that we can do. So this looks like we were inferring the T entity. I'm not sure exactly what these types were doing or what were they useful for. So I'll probably revisit them at some point because now that I look at them, they don't make much sense. It's like T entity extends Zorro shape, then T entity otherwise T Zorro shape. As in, I don't care if it's never. Just let's just say that it's Zorro shape. Zorro shape. So of course we're gonna mark it as to do and see whether it makes any sense to keep this around. This ID, yeah, this has to do with the requirement of the ID in the entity, and um, we may have to do something different here, like at runtime, so that we make sure that the ID exists. Or actually, we could check whether the ID exists. In this case, we're getting a complaint about it not knowing. I mean, TypeScript not knowing whether the ID exists. So I guess a runtime check here would make the most sense, so that we make sure that the ID is present in the object, and we can destructure it or remove it or. Hmm. I don't think an error though would be a good idea. That'd be like catastrophic for users. Um, there should be like a better way of doing this. So I guess I'll get the condition and try to work it around. Um, acá me di cuenta.
Oh my god, I think
Para.
fuck.